Hi, I'm Joy Black, a coach for pregnant and postpartum rock climbers. Today, I am answering your questions about climbing during pregnancy. Our first question, do you climb down or are you allowed to jump down? I am assuming that this question is referring to bouldering. And to directly answer this question, it will always be best practice to climb fully down, but it is okay to jump down from a small height, given that you land on your feet and with control. Now, with bouldering, we don't always have the option of coming down intentionally. When we're bouldering, we don't have a rope, so there are times when we will try a move and we're coming down unintentionally, or as we like to call it, falling. When you are falling, it is best practice to avoid falling directly on your pelvis or in a way that feels quite uncontrolled when you come to the ground. It is generally best to avoid falling from higher up. If you feel like you might fall from higher up, choose to use an intermediate hold, perhaps have a power spotter for the move so that you can mitigate a bit of these risks while you're bouldering. Our second question, I hope that a bit of climbing, maybe lead, will be possible for me when I'm going to be pregnant because I'm so scared of having a break of 9 months and what it would do to me mentally. I can't imagine what to do without climbing. Really good news. There are lots of options available to you for climbing during pregnancy. There are 3 disciplines, bouldering, top rope, or leading, and it is possible to do whatever you feel comfortable with during pregnancy. Just because you get pregnant does not mean you have to give up climbing. Climbing may look a bit different to you. You may switch disciplines from leading to top roping or bouldering to top roping, or you may choose to stick with bouldering, leading, or top roping the entire time. But the choice is yours. It is possible to safely continue climbing during pregnancy. We have a comment addressing this question as well, which says, leading or bouldering won't be a great option while pregnant, but top ropes are always an option. And I have to respectfully disagree with this comment. I think that when we are talking about the discipline of climbing that you choose to do during pregnancy, we need to look at the individual. We need to understand their baseline, their training age, their years of experience climbing, and then their comfort level inside of the discipline. It does not have to be a blanket approach where we say top roping is the only type of climbing available to you during pregnancy. If you have questions about what is safe during pregnancy, please make sure to talk through these with a climbing coach that can help you understand ways that you can mitigate risk and also help you understand what is going to make you most comfortable and happy to continue climbing during your pregnancy. Our next question, I'd like to know at what point to stop lead climbing. For baby's health, how risky is a lead fall? I've got a climbing trip coming up next month and I will be 13 weeks. It will be lovely to do some leading, but I'm equally happy to top rope only if that's what's best for baby. When we think about lead climbing and particularly lead falling during pregnancy, there are some important things to consider. Number one, we do not have a set point at which we can say lead falls are no longer safe during pregnancy. We also do not have a set point in which we can say lead falls are safe during pregnancy. We don't have any research that tells us one way or the other. So what we can do is take information that we do know and do have and use that to help us inform our decisions. One thing to consider when we are thinking about lead falls during pregnancy is where is baby inside of the pelvis, or where is the uterus at what stage of pregnancy. Around 12 to 14 weeks is when the uterus starts to come up and out of the pelvis. So the uterus no longer has the bony structure of the pelvis in front of it to give it protection. This is something that you want to keep in mind when you are considering lead falls. Given that we have a bit less protection during the uterus as we go further along in pregnancy, it is very important to make sure that you are mitigating risk in terms of any impact to the pelvis. That would mean coming into the wall with your pelvis hitting the wall. That's something that we really want to avoid at all stages of pregnancy. Another factor that you want to consider with lead falls during pregnancy is your belayer. If your belayer is not quite experienced with giving you a soft catch, I would not climb with them. Would drop them. It is best practice to have a belayer that is very experienced with giving you a soft catch and a belayer that you are very comfortable taking lead falls with. To directly answer this question about lead climbing and falling at 13 weeks, I think that if you would like to do some leading that feels really comfortable to you and know that you are able to mitigate risk with your falling between your experience as a lead climber and your belayer soft catches, then it will most likely be okay for you to do some lead climbing. If you feel like top roping will be a better option for you during that trip, it is okay too. It's also okay to change your mind while you're on your trip. Being flexible with the kind of climbing that you're doing and being okay with changing your mind, even while you're out during the day, is a perfectly normal thing to do during pregnancy. Our next question is, do you think it's okay for normal people to still climb pregnant, or is it just for elite climbers? I'd love to keep climbing, but I'm really not sure because I'm not elite. I love this question. It is absolutely okay for normal or recreational climbers to continue climbing during pregnancy. Elite climbers are climbing during pregnancy. We've seen many examples of this lately, like Shauna Coxey, Paige Clausen, Emily Harrington, Hazel Finlay, Alex Puccio. But it is not their elite status as a climber that enables them to climb during pregnancy. You do not have to climb a certain level to be able to continue climbing. To be able to continue climbing during pregnancy, you need to, number one, want to continue climbing during pregnancy. Many climbers will want to continue climbing during pregnancy, although some climbers choose not to continue climbing during pregnancy, and either choice is okay. You will also need to understand how to mitigate risk for the discipline of climbing that you're choosing during pregnancy. Whether that is bouldering, top roping, or leading, it is really important to understand how to mitigate the risk inside of that discipline while climbing during pregnancy. You also do not need to climb at your limit to continue climbing during pregnancy. There is a lot of benefit to continue climbing while using a bit less intense grades or a bit less volume as well. So in short, it is really, really great when recreational climbers choose to continue climbing during pregnancy. And please don't think that is only for elite climbers, because it definitely is not. It's important to remember that when we watch elite climbers climbing during pregnancy, that you are watching an elite climber climbing during pregnancy. Just because you see them climbing on the kilter board or bouldering or continuing to lead does not mean that's what your climbing needs to look like during pregnancy. Our next question, how do you protect your abs while climbing? I'm pregnant and stopped doing overhangs a while ago because it felt like my abs were getting torn apart. Help. This is a great question. We need to have a bit of understanding of what is happening to our core to help answer this question. During pregnancy, the linea alba, which is the connective tissue that runs in between your six-pack muscle, thins and widens to accommodate your pregnancy. Many times it is the strain on this connective tissue that we are feeling when we try to do things that are more challenging for our core, such as climbing steep terrain. The best way to protect our core while climbing is to learn about how to access our deep core muscles off the wall and to change the angle of the terrain as this climber did. Changing the angle from steeper to a bit more vertical will put less demand on your core, and it will cause a bit less strain on that connective tissue. If you are not feeling a lot of strain in your core on steeper terrain, it's fine to keep climbing steep terrain. Just make sure to check in with yourself, and if you do start to feel any discomfort, it is probably best to move to a bit more vertical terrain. In addition, something that you can do during pregnancy to support your core is learning to engage your deep core or your transverse abdominis. This muscle runs horizontal underneath all of the other muscles of your core. So it is underneath your rectus abdominis, your external obliques, your internal obliques, and it acts almost like a corset. By learning how to engage this muscle, you are going to learn how to adequately control intra-abdominal pressure, and this is really important, especially when we are climbing steep terrain during pregnancy. By learning how to activate this muscle off the wall, you can intentionally activate this muscle on the wall as well and help to protect your core a bit more while you're climbing steep terrain. Our next question, one of my biggest concerns about pregnancy is my core. I heard that there will be a cut as my belly gets bigger and bigger, and this is going to damage my muscles. I'm really curious about this and I am quite scared. Let's break this down. There is not a cut that happens to your core musculature during pregnancy. She is referring to diastasis rectus abdominis. We can also commonly refer to this as just diastasis, or some people will call it DRA. Diastasis is a thinning and widening of the connective tissue, the linea alba, that runs in between our six-pack muscles. There is no cut, there is no separation, nothing comes truly apart. Again, it is just a thinning and widening of that connective tissue. It is really important to remember that diastasis is a completely normal and healthy part of pregnancy. You cannot avoid diastasis. You can do things to learn how to manage the pressure in your core better so that you do not strain that connective tissue as much. But 100% of pregnant women will have diastasis by the time of delivery. So if you see a program or something claiming to prevent diastasis, save your money. You cannot prevent diastasis. Your goal is to learn things that will help you to avoid putting excessive strain on that tissue that is already being quite taxed during pregnancy. So hopefully this helps you understand a bit more about what is happening to your core and takes some of that fear away. Our next one, what about climbing during the first trimester? Is the nausea and fatigue debilitating? Does it affect your enthusiasm or your energy to climb? The nausea during the first trimester is real and it can be very intense. The best thing to remember when you are navigating training and climbing during the first trimester is that this is not a fatigue that you want to push through. This is a fatigue that you need to honor. Your body is doing a lot of work even though you can't quite see it yet. One of the biggest things that you want to remember here is that adjusting the volume of your training will likely be your best friend. Some days you may feel great and it's fine to do your workout as planned, but on the days when you don't feel quite as good, being okay with adjusting the volume is what you will want to do. One really good tip that you can use is if you are feeling really fatigued or really nauseous, many times movement will help you to feel a little bit better, but it's hard to get started and it's hard to know if you should continue the workout or not. You can use a 10-minute rule. Start your training session or your climbing session and give yourself 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, if you still feel really fatigued, you still feel nauseous, and you don't want to continue with the session, stop. You're done. Go take a nap, go have a snack. But if after 10 minutes you feel a bit better and want to keep moving, then you'll have your answer and be able to do your session. Last but not least, this is my favorite question. Is climbing during pregnancy just like climbing with a weight vest on? Absolutely not. A weight vest is something that we can simply take on and off. There are no changes happening to our body from the inside out with a weight vest. Yes, a weight vest adds weight to us and pregnancy adds weight to us, but a weight vest does not change the shape and angle of your rib cage. A weight vest does not change the shape and muscles around your pelvis. A weight vest also does not have to come out of your body. A weight vest does not change your hormones. A weight vest does not change your ability to generate tension because of relaxant on the wall. I could go on and on and on about why a weight vest is nothing like climbing pregnant, but for now, we're just going to leave it at that. I've really enjoyed answering these questions about climbing during pregnancy. If you're looking for more specific climbing during pregnancy advice, please make sure to find me at trainedbyjoy.com. Another great resource for climbing during pregnancy is going to be a pelvic floor physio or physical therapist. These are physios that specialize in the pelvic floor, and they can help you understand a lot more about what is going on in your pelvic floor during pregnancy. I highly recommend that each climber book at least one appointment with a pelvic floor physio before and after birth. Thank you so much for watching today, and always remember, you got this.